What's going on, guys? G2 here. Welcome back to the channel, and today we've got a video that I know, I'm sorry in advance, is going to trigger some of you guys because I'm seeing a lot of comments and a lot of this stuff is inaccurate, and I just kind of want to set this record straight here on when and where you should be using blue Loctite and red Loctite on your AR platform. There is a lot of bad information out there, so we're going to set the record straight today. We're going to head down to the bench and we're going to break this down Barney Fife style for you guys. Let's go. If you're watching this video, chances are you love yourself some blue Loctite. If you're not a subscriber, hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you're alerted every time I upload new videos. If you are currently a subscriber, welcome back. I know you love your blue. Let's see if you should. Well, welcome to the bench. So here we are, the fancy diagram here for you guys. We're going to make this real visual and we're going to make it pretty quick. Blue, the good old blue Loctite, right? It fixes everything. And then you've got your red Loctite. And then we've got here Roxette. It's really only used in one spot for one particular reason. We're going to start at the head and finish at the tail here. So let's start with the muzzle device. Flash hiders, compensators, all those things. Should you use thread locker? Absolutely not, guys. You do not need to use thread locker on a muzzle device. If you're torquing it correctly, if you're timing it correctly, you're using a crush washer when you need to, shims when you need to, there's no need for any kind of thread locker on your muzzle. Using blue Loctite on your muzzle is absolutely pointless because it is going to get so hot that is going to fail. The same thing with red Loctite. It's going to get to the point where over time that it will fail. This has, the heat will destroy this. Heat up to about, I think it's 1250 or 1300 degrees will destroy your red Loctite and make it just nothing. It'll turn to like a grainy white powder. The only time that you will ever use any kind of thread locker on a muzzle device is Roxette. And the only time that you're going to be doing that is when it's suppressed. So if you're using a suppressive device, part of their installation is to properly time it with shims and then use Roxette to set that muzzle device or that adapter for your suppressor. So no thread locker on the muzzle devices. Gas blocks. I see this all the time in the comments here. Throw red Loctite on it because it makes it permanent. Yeah, it does, but here's the problem. Your gas block's going to get so darn hot, it's going to turn that red Loctite into nothing. The proper way to put on your gas block, whether you decide to pin it or if you decide to dimple your barrel, that's the proper way to install your gas block. Dimple, pin, and then make sure that it's torqued appropriately. For your barrel nut, you're typically attaching a metal, two different types of metal together, most likely steel to aluminum, and in that case you're dealing with very, very thick and coarse threads. Loctite does not work really well in thick and coarse threads, and you will end up stripping your threads when you're trying to take this out, even when you're using heat. And with the barrel nut, it is still going to get hot to pretty close to where that red Loctite is going to fail. Definitely that blue Loctite, you're just wasting blue Loctite putting it on your barrel. The proper way to install your barrel is to torque it to the specified range, which according to military guidelines is anywhere from 33 to 65 foot-pounds. And as long as you're in that range and it's timed for your gas block, you're good. That's it. You don't need Loctite. On your grip screw, this is one where there's a lot of confusion as well. When you get grip screws, you will see, let me see if I have anything here that has, okay, perfect example. So a lot of times you will get grip screws, and they will have, this isn't a grip screw, but they will have something like this on the end, right? People see blue, and they assume that it's blue Loctite. It's not. This is a version of thread locker, but it is a very, very mild thread locker. It's more so a some kind of nylon, you know, a liquid nylon that is added on there just to add a little bit of strength to that screw, but not to lock it in. There's a difference. So when you see those grip screws and you see that blue on there, the yellow, that's not thread locker. That's a nylon additive or some other kind of additive that they put to act as a thread locker, but it is much, much more mild than your blue Loctite. Here's where you get another issue with blue Loctite. You're usually dealing with a steel screw into your aluminum receiver. When you're using Loctite on those two different types of metals, it does not work. The last thing you want to do here is to use blue Loctite, get it and strip out your aluminum. Since it's softer than the steel, that's what's going to happen. Don't mess up your receiver. Use proper torque, and most of these come with a washer, a lock washer in there. That's why it's in there. Castle nut. Oh my God, how many times do we have to talk about the castle nut? You don't ever use Loctite on your castle nut. Ever. No blue, no red, no rock set, no nothing on your castle nut. Castle nuts are to be torqued to the appropriate spec, and they are also to be staked. Those are mil spec directions for installing a castle nut. It doesn't say anywhere in the military handbook to apply Loctite to your castle nut. Do it right from the beginning. Torque and stake. Use a washer, the lock washer that comes with it. Torque. Torque. Pin, torque, and dimple. Finally, you've got your attachments, your optics, your sights, your hand guard, right? Your little hand stops here, your optics up here, maybe your rail mounted accessories, the buoys. On occasion, you may have the little screws that go into your hand guard to tighten it underneath. Guess what, guys? This is, bing, 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 the only time that you are really should be using Loctite. You're using it on the same metal. It's not different metals because it's, you know, the one screw is going into the same nut. Or the key mod nuts, right? They're both made of the same metal. This right here, the screw is going into a nut of the same metal. On your sights, the screw is going into a fastening area or a nut of the same metal. Do you follow kind of where the theme is going? So attachments, optics, and sights, totally okay for blue Loctite. You don't really need red on those. I would stay away from the red altogether. There's really no need for it on the AR system. If you want to Loctite anything, you got that nice blue Loctite that you've had, put it on your attachments, your optics, and your sights, and leave it out for the rest of this. You don't need it. If you follow the way it's supposed to be installed, there's absolutely no need and no reason to put blue Loctite on anything. It seems a little weird. You hear it all the time. Use blue Loctite here, use blue Loctite there, use red Loctite on gas blocks, use blue Loctite on castle nuts. It's just not true. It's just not true. If there's one thing that I want you guys to take away from this video and from all the videos that I put out is there is an absolute right way to do something. Loctite, for all intents and purposes, is a shortcut for methods and procedures that you should be doing, a la staking your castle nut, torquing your barrel nut, torquing your gas block set screws, dimpling your barrel for your gas block, using shims, crush washers, and timing correctly your muzzle devices. It's a common misconception. So if you've been doing this, believe me, you're not alone, okay? When I first started, that's all I heard was blue Loctite, and I used it. But as I started reading manuals and the way things should be done, you realize that there is absolutely no reason for you to be using blue Loctite other than on your attachments and your optics for those little screws. Anything that has a really fine thread. If it has a really coarse, thick thread, you shouldn't be putting anything on it except torque. That's what holds it in place. Crush washers, lock washers, those things come and they're set, and you have a set spec and torque for a reason. So follow the guidelines, follow the manufacturer's suggested torque. Whether you agree or disagree, leave your comments below and let me know. I can't wait to see how this one turns out. Until next time, make sure that you're practicing safe weapons handling at all times and treating every weapon as if it was loaded. And stay away from that Loctite. G2 out.